So the Rangers are 13-9. You feel good about that record. You're in first place in the division. You're half a game off the best record in the American League. However, offensively, you are tied for the least runs scored in all of baseball. Even the freaking Colorado Rockies have more runs than you, and they played one less game. So my question here is, because I think you guys actually...
Nobody has less scored runs than you.
Yes, correct. Okay. I think you guys actually changed my mind about this with that statistic. Are you more impressed by the Rangers' top-notch pitching or concerned about their lack of offense? Because we're going to talk plenty about the top-notch pitching. But once you told me that, I was like, that can't be right. And you look at it and you're like, oh, no.
Yeah.
And so I think because of that, I am concerned more about the offense than I am impressed by the pitching, even though the pitching's been phenomenal.
I do want to take a look back, because I'm not saying that this is a Bruce Bochy thing, because during our only World Series, we slugged the whole year. But our marquee guys were the ones carrying the load there, right? It was Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, it was Adolis Garcia. Those three guys were the ones that were like, hey, we're going to be consistent throughout the season. And then you got contributions from, Mitch Garver, Josh Young. Those things happen. So I want to know, but I really want to look at is Bochy's pitching in those World Series years with other teams.
Okay.
In those years, were they at 3.25? Were they at a good ERA number, and were they getting these kinds of outings from their starting pitching? So that's where I am, Kevin. I'm very impressed with what their starting pitching has accomplished, and the fact that they're able to win these games throughout that. But what their starting pitching does is give them a chance, and they need every chance they can get right now until they figure it out. However, you already moved on from one hitting coach.
Yeah.
And now you have very similar problems where they're not seeing some pitches. They just don't look like they're confident with what they're swinging at. But I'm most impressed with the fact that they're able to do what they're doing with this pitching right now.
So, okay, is
that the answer to the question?
Yeah, that objectively is a funny text from the 858. I'm more concerned about the lack of offense, but Chris Young is clearly doing his best Nico Harrison impression since defense wins championships. All right, that is very humorous. Now, Bruce Bochy benched Jock Peterson on Sunday. Clearly, that did not jumpstart anything with the offense. But one of the things that Boch said was, it's not work harder, make any drastic changes. It's just getting your timing down. And so he said, I think a little success, maybe a couple days off, will serve him well. Because right now, Jock Peterson is 0 for his last 38. His previous longest slump in his entire career was 0 for 30. And in the last 15 games, he's 2 for 51. And his current hitless streak is the second longest by a Rangers player in franchise history. Only Justin Foscue last year, who went 0 for 39, had worse. So whenever Jock Peterson comes up again, whether it's tonight, whether it's tomorrow, if he gets out in his first two at-bats, that will officially be the longest hitless run in the history of the Rangers. Then you have Marcus Semien. He has an OPS at 401. That is the worst among all leadoff hitters in baseball.
Okay.
Then you have Jake Berger, who has an OPS of 513. And then, unfortunately, I'm sorry, we swing back around to Jock Peterson, who has an OPS of 220, which is worse for any regular player in all of baseball this year.
Yeah.
And like 2 out of those 3, we have the worst OPS for leadoff hitter. And then we have a player who's the worst regular in terms of hitting thus far in all of baseball. It is astonishing that the Rangers still are 4 games above 500.
When I watch Jock Peterson at the plate, Kevin, I see a guy who doesn't know what's coming next.
Yeah.
And one of the great things about really good hitters, Corey Seager doesn't care what comes next. He's
fair.
I'm just trying to hit the baseball.
Sure.
Adrian Beltre didn't care what you were doing. He went up to the plate. He didn't necessarily sit there and go, I'm thinking about all the... He just went up there and he was like, when I see the ball that I want to hit, I'm putting it at, somewhere else. It's going to be awesome. And Jock doesn't look like he has a clue what pitch is coming. And that's what concerns me the most, is because we talked about his lack of seriousness in spring training. And that means, for me, that would presume, hey, I go up there and I swing the bat, baby. That's what I do. And if you're going up there with a better plan and you're going, all right, he just threw me this pitch, and this pitch, now fastball's on the way. Or, hey, man, he's been setting fastballs up away. He's about... Then I'm feeling like you're more comfortable knowing that I'm in the right area, at least, when I'm swinging this bat. And he doesn't even look... There are times when there are curveballs in, there are things that are low and inside that I'm like, why did you really see it that way? Listen, I'm not hitting coach either, though, so he doesn't have to listen to me on this. But he has to find a different plan because he doesn't look like whatever his bat speed is going to be is right where it's supposed to be right now. I do expect, Kevin, here in the near future, we discussed it last week, I do expect a pretty significant shakeup. And I would say it starts at the top.
Oh, for sure. And that seems to be what fans are clamoring for anyway. From the 214, Marcus being the leadoff hitter still is so bleeping baffling to me. From the 940, you need Seager hitting behind Wyatt. And is it safe to assume, I'm going to check with you first, that is most people's presumptive top of the lineup? It was go Wyatt to lead off and then Corey Seager still in the second spot.
Yeah, that's what I would see. And I don't know exactly where to put Marcus in the lineup for where he will feel comfortable. But
6 or 7?
I mean, think about this though.
I'm not putting him in the heart of the lineup now.
Your 5 is sometimes Berger.
Yeah,
maybe 5.
That's a good point. You are really struggling from there too.
If you're shaking it up, shake it all the way up and see how things fall together. And at this point, guys can't get upset. Honestly, you can't get upset if you're being moved around here because y'all aren't producing the way you even expect yourself to. So I would expect something like that to happen at some point. That being said, I had this, and we brought this conversation up a little bit yesterday. Dustin Harris keeps sticking around because he's doing the things that it takes, and he says, "Look, I'm athletic enough to play any of the spots. I'm pretty comfortable in center field." And him next to Wyatt Langford in the outfield looks pretty good with what they do defensively.
It is a really advantageous situation for him to take advantage of.
Especially the way that Taveras has just looked abysmal in the outfield this year.
Yeah, which is surprising because that was going to be his bread and butter. But Harris is excelling at a time when just excelling would probably keep your bat in the lineup, but excelling at a time when the rest of the lineup just isn't making it happen, well, then that very much makes your bat seem indispensable at this point. Now, Alec, I want to check with you real quick before we dive back into the pitching. At this point in the season, are you more excited about what has been lights out pitching or concerned about the lack of offense?
I'd say more excited about the pitching because that feels like something that we touched on a lot during spring training and the offseason was question mark, question mark, question mark. Like, it felt like the offense is what we all felt comfortable with. We're like, there's a lot of known commodities on this team. There's some players that are younger that haven't had as much experience that we're excited to see what they can contribute. Pretty much everybody has underperformed, and if we keep on going down a route where Jonah Heim and or Josh Smith is in the conversation for your best skill position player, you're not going very far. But your pitching is giving you a chance to, which is still amazing to me.
By the way, I did see multiple people put the hat in the ring for Josh Smith to be the leadoff batter. So perhaps that's a question we can ask Boach tomorrow.
Because he gets on base a lot.
Yes, he does.
And so if you have him and you have Seager and Wyatt still behind him, you're feeling comfortable that you're going to get a run out of those 3.
I agree with that. Now, for the pitching this year has been tremendous. All right. So look at the Angels and Dodgers series. Both of the games that the Rangers lost, they were shut out. And so, like, logically, man, I really want that tease where Mike goes, well, you can't lose if you don't, or you can't win. And we're just like, what? And that's one of my favorite baseball Nuggets teases of all time. But obviously, you're not going to win if you don't score any runs. 4-2 against the Angels and Dodgers with a 1.64 ERA. Okay. You might be more excited about this. 41 strikeouts to 7 walks. If you have a strikeout to walk ratio that's 4, 5, now here 6-1, things are probably going pretty damn well for you.
Heck yeah, I'm feeling very. I mean, that was Kevin, we were a night show when we did this study to figure out exactly where, what matters the most, and strikeout pitchers matter in all facets of what your pitching is. Starters, bullpen, closer. You need strikeouts in this game because that limits the amount of bad things that can happen.
Now, we got Patrick Corbin tonight, and I want to talk about that in just a second, but Tyler Mahle. Tyler Mahle is the 13th pitcher since 1995, which is designated as the wild card era, to have an ERA of .68 through their first 5 starts. It's been 30 years. He's the 13th guy. You know how many times a Rangers pitcher's ever done it? None.
Is he this good?
Look, okay, let me try this again. I was about to say I don't think so. No. He's not this good because at this rate, this would be the greatest pitching season since Bob Gibson, and they had to change the height of the mound. But let's say he finishes with a 2.68. What an unbelievable find and an unbelievable win that would be for the Texas Rangers.
At 30 years old. And let's go ahead and give Mike Maddox some credit. Mike Maddox is the one creating and designing these plans as these guys go to the mound.
Yeah.
So when you ask, is this guy this good? He had never pitched with Mike Maddox as his pitching coach before.
That's true.
So maybe the thing he walks up to the mound with in his pocket is, hey, I have an execution plan that if I do it, it's going to work, and it just keeps happening.
Somebody brought up he could be this year's Jordan Montgomery. That is from the 214.
Well, he's right-handed.
Okay, but you get the point. But you cannot overstate the importance of Jordan Montgomery in 2023. It's impossible to overstate how important he was to that team.
It's a long season, okay? It's a long season, but let's talk about it real quick. The way Mahle's pitching, if he's still like this at the end of the year, and what we saw from DeGrom the other day, you already know Evaldi's going to be there.
Yes.
Are you going 3 righties?
Yes.
For your start, for your playoff run?
There is no way I changed up from those 3. No, absolutely. So,
and then you got Cody Bradford just at some point, hopefully maybe Patrick Corbin. Yeah, we got lots of options here.
And then Leiter comes back, Rocker. That's
it's a long season, guys.
It is a very long season. But then I see stats that say that the ERA for Tyler Mahle thus far is the lowest through 5 starts for any pitcher in the history of the franchise.
History of the world, probably.
No, just the history of the franchise.
Okay, all right.
But also, do you know what the batting average against him is?
Batting average 0.060. Am I wrong?
You are wrong, but that's okay.
That's his ERA, right?
Yes,
okay.
His ERA is .68. His batting average against, he could be our leadoff guy because it's 112.
Okay, dude, you didn't have to do that.
Did I not?
That was unnecessary.
Is that inaccurate?
That was a shot at the guys, and it was unnecessary.
Okay, I'm very sorry.
I'm hurt right now.
I'm going to correct it.
He's a .825 whip right now.
No, you're right, and you're right, Corey. I'm going to correct it.
825.
Our leadoff hitter right now is hitting 141. So I do apologize for making such aspersions
taking shots
against
at
him.
Simeon, and
now
you're still upset about that time that he took that shot at you.
No.
After you,
I thought it was hilarious. The comedic timing of Marcus Simeon when he goes, "Ooh, probably not getting that guy back on then, huh?" I just thought was tremendous. Now, the AL best ERA for a collective pitching staff, that is the Texas Rangers. For their rotation, they have a best 2.85 ERA. And you've pointed it out. It is early. But if we're going to kind of be worried about the hitting because it's early, even if it did transition over from last year, they did make some changes in the lineup that I'm going to be excited about how freaking good this pitching staff looks.
And hopefully they do get their timing.
Yes.
At some point. That would be nice.
Agreed.